So that was great. But then when I said on Wogan, I love singing, then I got so many companies, record companies, sending me tracks, and they would come to my house on a cassette tape. Some of them were just, well, most of them was awful, to be honest. And then I heard Touch Me. That was posted to me by Jive Records. Just want you to have a little listen to that, and we'd love to have a meeting in 2 or 3 days. Well, I put it on, and I just knew it was a hit. I just knew it. I just knew it. And I met with the record company. They came a few days later, and they said, "We'd like you to audition. What do you think? Could you sing this song?" I said, "I could sing that at my standing on my head." I went. So I went on to the audition. There was around 200 girls. They were looking for the British Madonna at the time, a British one, not an American one. I was like, well, being a big fan of Madonna, I was like, to look up to somebody like that, it just gave me a vision, that, yeah, I'd love to be like that. And yeah, I did sang the song Touch Me out of all the girls, and then they kept me behind. And they said, "We love your voice." And they said, "Can we meet your mum and dad?" They came up within the next 2 hours, and they presented me with a 5-year contract there and then. My dad was quite sensible in saying, "We've got to show this to a lawyer." So many young people, bands especially, they sign it. So Dad was quite sensible in the way he dealt with a lot of contracts during my modelling days. So, but it was a really good deal. It was an album per year. So again, I kind of knew 5 albums in 5 years. And yeah, that was a roller coaster, I must admit, because Touch Me went #1 all around the world. So then I had to get the album done really quickly.
Was Touch Sorry, I know I was going to say, was Touch Me sent to anyone else? Like, was it like, oh, it was almost so-and-so's song, or was it really just like, we want to find a new artist?
Yeah. I'll tell you how it started out, the song. Jive Records owned at their own studios called Battery Studios, and they had many, many songwriting rooms in there, and plus where you recorded. And a lyricist who wrote Touch Me, called John Astrop, he went past a studio where a guy called Mark Shreve, who unfortunately died this year or last year, still very young, I can't believe it. He used to do adverts for cars and the TV and movies, and he was doing a car advert. And John heard do 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 as a car horn. I know it sounds stupid. And he went, "Oh, that's a great melody." And then they were looking, Jive had said to him, "I want you to write, like a Virgin or something like this, or something a little bit controversial." And that's when he came out, "Touch me, touch me, I want to feel your body." And then he continued the lyrics. And then they were like, "Yes, that's the song, John." And that's the song that broke it for me. And me and John are still like that today. He's great friends. He was at my wedding recently, and I keep saying to him, "When are you going to write another Touch Me?" 40 years ago. No, not 40 years ago, 86. So that's like 37 years ago, is it? 37, 36?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think like your pinups, like, did that help you get this, or do you think it almost hindered, or neither? Was it like, we already have a stereotype of you, or were you like
Yeah.
the pinups were almost like the perfect match for a song like Touch Me, if you think about it, or did
Oh,
it have
yeah.
nothing to do with you getting this?
Well, no, I think it's very difficult for women in the industry anyway. If you're slightly sexy or you're good looking and people find you, you know, a good looking woman. And obviously, me having had a lot of attention from young boys and boys growing up always. So I think, to be honest, even without the glamour modeling, for any woman, it's so difficult. A lot of people, "Oh, you're blonde, you're good looking. What else can you do?" That's why in my modeling days, I kind of broke the mold, and I was doing lots of TV work. But yes, in England, I would say yes, because I was primarily the #1 girl in England as the model. Um, and yes, it was difficult. I was at like top 10, and I was still on the C list on Radio 1, which was really upsetting. And there was one particular DJ. I had an alarm clock by my bed, which used to play radio in the morning to wake me up. And it's so funny, this particular morning, Touch Me was being played, and I thought I was dreaming, to be honest. And then right at the end, the DJ scratched it off and said, "This is not Samantha Fox, and this is a pile of rubbish. I won't be playing that again." And he just scratched it like that. And that was so, so upsetting. And that was the country that I'm from. And like, please, where's your support? And then when it break, then it went number one all over the world, where I wasn't known as a glamour model. And it basically got to number one on its own merit because it was a great song. If you look at the video, it's not sexual. I'm wearing my jean jacket, my jeans, because again, I wanted to be like Debbie Harry, kind of a singer fronting a boy band. Pat Benatar at the time I was a big fan. Stevie Nicks, and that was the image I had in my head how I wanted to be. Um, so yeah, in England it was difficult, and I had to really prove myself. In well, I kind of proved it in the beginning with it being number one around the world. But once I started touring with my band, singing live, that's when people really stood up in this country, in my own country. And then it got bigger and bigger. And I was like, I wish England would consider me as a great British export and be proud of me that I've touched the world with Touch Me. And I guess that was what I was meant to do. Now it's so much better, so much better. It's taken a while. It really has. But my mum and dad used to say, Sam, it's a big world out there. We're tiny on the map. It's a big world. And just think so many people make it in their own countries but never become worldwide. And as a kid, you wanted to be worldwide famous, and you are. So don't worry about those people because it's a big world out there, and people are people, whether they're English people, American, Spanish, French. We're all human, we're all people. So I got kind of a grips with it, really. Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
DJ scratched it off just because what? Like you were the pinup girl. He's like, oh,
Yeah. Didn't
wow,
believe it was me. Didn't believe it was
wow.
me. I got my own back, about a good 10 years because I don't forget. I'm like an elephant, never forget. And I went to the TV awards at the Albert Hall. It's a big, big do. And as I walked down to get to my seat, I saw this particular photographer, um, 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 DJ. His name was Chris Tarrant. I don't mind him saying it. And he was sitting there with his wife. And I went over and I said, "You're a really good DJ, you and you." My record was rubbish. Well, it went to number one in 17 countries and top five in most of the world. And he didn't say anything. He was totally embarrassed. And not long after that, he wasn't on the radio anymore. Obviously, he'd upset a few people, I think, in his career. Yeah.
Do you ever look back at your pictures, like it'd say like, wow, look at these, or is it like you just don't want to look at them, or not that there's anything to be ashamed of with them? Like, do you look at them or do you not? And does that evoke emotions, or do you not really go back and look at them?
No, do you know what? I often, example, I think it was just before COVID, I released a calendar, not a brand new calendar, but I released a calendar of all my favorite ever, not page three, because I wanted young people to buy it, but it was a glamour. I was mostly doing glamour, swimwear, underwear, just sexy shots. And so basically, I owned a lot of my pictures from back then. And I picked all my favorites throughout my career of